resume is probably terrible. It's okay. I feel like in every professional and social circle, there is one person that is the go-to that everybody brings their resume to. Everybody asks this one person to review the resume and to punch up the resume when they're applying for a job. I was fortunate to have a former boss named Tracy in my life who used to punch up my resume and give me really, really brutal feedback. She used to do it for like all of my friends and my wife. She was the go-to person that went and punched up the resumes and told us how to do better and what was terrible. And then I inherited the role when I kind of stopped working with Tracy. Everybody started coming to me because I'm mean. I don't know. I'm not that mean, but I am brutal. I am brutally honest when I look at resumes and I punch them up. Recently, just because of what's been going on in the economy and what's been going on with COVID, people are starting to move around, and I've been getting a lot of requests to review resumes. So I thought I would put some of my advice to video so we can talk about it. The advice that I'm going to give you, it's not absolute. I have a suspicion that very, very specialized roles for very specialized industries, this advice isn't going to work. One of my best friends is a nurse, and I actually had a chance to review his resume. And there are things that I would not necessarily feel comfortable giving him advice on or saying to change because I don't know what a doctor would look for if a doctor is reviewing the resume. So, for the most part, this advice is pretty much focused towards corporate America, maybe to some degree small businesses if you're handing your resume off to an entrepreneur, to the person who owns the business or is a major leader in the business and will also do the hiring. But for the most part, this pertains to corporate America. This pertains to situations where there are HR departments involved, because the HR department is my first topic. Your resume, for the most part, with all of the conditions that I just said, your resume, for the most part, is really not for the hiring manager. They're going to review it, but the resume needs to be catered towards the HR person who is going to be reviewing the resume first and then giving it to the hiring manager. Your resume has to have enough information on it so it looks like you are meeting the criteria of the job description that is posted. For the most part, your resume is for the HR people, not necessarily for the hiring manager. We're going to get into the little treats that you should put in your resume for the hiring manager, at least in my opinion. But you got to get past the HR gauntlet first, so you got to really write that resume for HR. A lot of people will put that objective at the top of the resume, and for decades, I hated that. I hated that summary block. I thought it was useless. What's the point? Nobody is going to read it. And for a hiring manager, that's probably right. I know that I probably 90% of the time skip over it when I'm reading the resume. I get it. You want a job. But that's not for me. That's for the HR people. So remember that. When you're reviewing that block, and you might say, why am I doing this? I don't need to put this in there. You do if it's going through an HR department. Most of us probably have a resume. We probably don't update it frequently if we're not changing jobs frequently, and it kind of gets dusty. That can be a problem, again, for your skill set, especially if you are rapidly trying to switch jobs. Let's say you get laid off on a Friday, you want to get back on that horse. It's not a bad idea to check in on your resume every 6 months and update it with all the most recent skills and all of the things that you've been doing, and kind of take out some of the older stuff that's probably not super important anymore. With that being said, before you apply for a job, I highly recommend that you cater your resume before you submit it to a specific job application. You cater that resume to the job description that has been posted. That job description is basically a cheat sheet for you. I'm going to say this now. Don't ever lie on your resume. Don't ever be untruthful on your resume. Don't stretch the truth. I have seen it backfire on people in my personal life. Do not do that. But I think that a job description or a job posting is like the perfect cheat sheet. I don't think enough people fully realize as you're reading that job description and you're saying, oh, yep, I can do that. Yep, no, I have that experience. I'm good with this. I'm good with this. You should be thinking about how to draft your resume to say exactly that. Because the HR person that's going to review your resume is going to be super grateful that all of those things line up directly to the job description. You're making their lives easier. But also don't make it super obvious to the point where they're like, are they just copying, pasting the job description? Don't do that. But take your personal experience and line it up. It's okay to do that, and you really should. Is that more work for you because you have to customize every resume to a certain degree? It sure is. Yeah, it's not easy getting a job. Now let's talk about the meat of the resume. Let's talk about what's in it. I know that what resonates for me when I read someone's resume is accomplishments. One of the things that I really don't enjoy when I review a resume is when you see that block of text that says responsible for, maintain this, executed that, performed this task. I don't want to see someone's list of tasks that they do for a job. I'm going to tell you, this is the most important part of the video. Right, here's I'll make it shiny or something. Show me the objective of the thing that you are doing. You are clearly being paid to do something, and this is not a charity. You're not being paid to do something just to keep yourself busy. There is a reason why a company is investing in you to do a task. So take it one step further. Why are you doing the task? And how frequently are you achieving the desired outcome, or how are you even better? How are you exceeding it? Where you can, show a metric in your resume. You improved this particular function by 35%. You reduced cost by 25%. You saved the company $14 million, $100,000, $50,000. Anything to show that you're putting these actions together and you're driving towards a better business outcome. If you can demonstrate that in your resume, that shows me that you're someone I want on my team. I don't want people that can just do tasks, for the most part. I want thinkers and I want doers. So show someone that you are a thinker and a doer. And that will become more apparent to the hiring manager versus the HR person. I cannot stress that point enough. That is the number one thing that I give advice on, and when I help someone rewrite a resume, that is the number one thing that I focus on. Show outcomes where you can, and I get it. Not every job can do that, especially when you're just starting out. If you're just out of college, or you're a high school kid, and your first resume, and you maybe have a couple of little jobs, you may not have that, and I understand that. Where you can, take it to the next level of thought. You just didn't do a task. There's a reason why you did it. Help tell that story in your resume. My other big piece of advice for crafting the resume towards the hiring manager is interactive links. Long gone are the days where someone is likely getting a physical paper copy only of a resume that's put on your desk to review. Most likely, this is a digital artifact. Most likely, it is a PDF file, and you have embedded links. Where you can in the resume, it's very helpful, at least in my opinion, to see the other stuff that you're doing. So if you have a professional YouTube channel, let me stop there. If you have a YouTube channel of you and your friends going out on boats and chugging beers, that's beautiful. Fantastic. Don't share that with a hiring manager or HR department. Google's a thing, and hiring managers could probably go out and find it. Have this idea of maybe you have other content, professionally related content that's available out on the internet. So as a hiring manager, I might be able to preview you to get a feel for who you are as a human being and the other interests that you have and what you may bring to the table. The intangibles, if you will. Right? I'm a big fan of the intangibles. So you don't necessarily know what the person's up to, and you have a 35-minute interview. It doesn't always come across having those extra materials out there where someone can find them or you are presenting them, to the hiring manager, they're super helpful. Maybe an article that you wrote, maybe some other extracurricular activity, something that shows there's more to you as a human being. Again, I'm a big fan of finding the videos, right? I like videos, or finding someone's blog. I'm not looking for the problems, right? You always hear these stories about a hiring manager or an HR department saying, hey, give somebody access to the Facebook and all that stuff. I don't want to see pictures of you drinking with your friends. I assume that you are going to do that because you're a human being and you're going to go out and you're going to have fun and you're going to be silly. Be smart about these things, right? And again, where you can and should have a private Facebook or Twitter or whatever the popular social media of the day is. But I would say that a LinkedIn, for instance, should be geared towards the professional, and you should take advantage of that. You should use that. You should sprinkle all of these interesting things about yourself in that LinkedIn. So if I find you on LinkedIn, I'm going down the rabbit hole and I'm looking at all this cool stuff that you did, and it's interactive and it tells me more about you as a professional, and it rewards me as the hiring manager for going out and looking. So you want to keep that resume short for the HR people and for the hiring manager that's skimming through 40 resumes. But if I like you and I go deeper into it, yeah, make it easy for me to find the stuff that you want me to see. And you should make stuff that you want me to see. That's the differentiator. We live in an electronic time. Take advantage of that. Why do you think this exists? You. Why do you think this is happening right now, right? I'm creating a brand that I want people to see on a professional level, but I'm also trying to give back. It's all part of the conversation. So where you are so inclined to do so, make something. Show more of yourself in a professional setting and in a professional light that lets a hiring manager who's interested in you be rewarded for looking and showing an interest in you. Speaking of the internet and digital things, I can go and do a 20-minute video on how to do your resume. But the thing is, there are a bazillion really good templates and examples on the internet that are so specific to your career and your goals. For the love of Christmas, use the internet. If you are redoing your resume and have not done a resume for 5 years, a year, or whatever it may be, go and find an updated template on the internet and use it. I can give you the advice and I can tell you how to format this and that, but the reality is I don't know what you are looking for. And I'm not going to try, because you can look on the internet and find the thing that you need. And you need to do that because, again, as a hiring manager and as someone who has reviewed legitimately thousands of resumes over my lifetime, you can tell when people are not looking at the internet, who are not paying attention to like the most recent resume trends. And when I say recent trends, I'm talking like in chunks of a decade, right? So I can kind of tell when I've seen a resume from like the 1980s that someone just retyped on a word processor versus something, from the 2000s or the 2010s or the 2020s. Make sure that your resume, a resume in the 2020s, should have an outcome focus, not just a list of tasks that you do. That's boring for the hiring manager. Everybody knows that you're doing something in a job. Take it to the next level. Use the internet to sprinkle little croutons of yourself so people can get a better feel for you. Take it to the next level. And I get it. You may be seeing this and say, that's more work. That's harder. And it is. But I would hope that if you're looking at this video, you want something better. You want the next level up job. And to do that, if you want to level up, you got to work harder. Try to tell a narrative and a story. Try to tell a progression in your resume where you can. If you have 20 or 30 years of job experience, the reality is all of that stuff is going to start to blur together, right? And someone's not going to go back 30 years on a job to figure out exactly this task that you did in 1975 or 1985 or 1995, right? So start to stack it in to levels of progression where you can, and show a progression in your resume to show that you are consistently getting better and that you're trying to get better and that your job is getting more sophisticated and you as a human being are getting more sophisticated. I'm interested in your journey. If I'm taking the time to review your resume, I want to see a journey. I want you to tell me a story in 2 pages talking in corporate terms. That's what I'm looking for. And again, maybe I'm a weirdo, maybe I'm different than what other people are looking for, but if I'm going to take the time to review that resume, I want to see a progression. But remember, the resume initially is for the HR department. Make the resume read similar to the job description that's posted. The information that you're seeding in for the hiring manager should be outcome and objective focused. Show me that you are progressing. Show me you know the job. Try to sprinkle in some digital treats where you can so we can find some pieces about you that you want me to see on the internet so I get to know you better. Reward my investment in you in reviewing your resume. And then tell me a story. Show me a progression in your resume. Those are the big points. And oh, by the way, use the internet to find the templates and to find the information that you need to make a better resume. I'm going to cut it off right here. I think I've given enough knowledge and information to start from. What I'm going to do is and I don't normally harp on, oh, subscribe and oh, check out this and add a comment or do a like. I don't do that stuff. But what I'm going to say for this one is, if you see this, if you like what you're hearing, you're a little bit confused, ask a question in the comments and I will respond. If there are enough comments and questions in the thread, I'll do a part 2 of this video and answer and address those in real time and live as well. So, you don't have to read through a bunch of threads. But I usually don't get a lot of interaction in my comment section, but maybe for this one, maybe people are interested. Thanks for watching. I hope you leave a comment, and I hope this helps you out.